Hey there everyone, welcome to Violet's Dream Tarot. So today we're going to be doing a reading for anyone who's feeling a little bit down, a little bit stuck, a little bit stagnant maybe, a little bit tired, and who needs some inspiration. So this reading is going to be a bit like a spiritual pick-me-up, I guess. I just felt called to do this reading for anyone who just wasn't feeling it right now, for anyone who needs to maybe hear some words of encouragement or some words that are going to inspire you a little bit or take you out of your current situation to focus on something different. So we're going to be using the Star Spinner Tarot today. And I'm really excited to do this reading for you. I know that there's going to be some very special messages coming in. I can just feel it already. So thank you so much for being here, you guys. Welcome to the reading. Welcome to the channel as well. If you're new, thank you to all of my lovely subscribers and to all of my lovely patrons as well, including Alexandra, Kelly, Cara, Mia, Nicole, Alison and Lena. Please do consider subscribing as well if you haven't already. That really helps out my channel. It also means that you never miss an upload. And check out my description box below and the comment that I post in the comments section for all of the wonderful links if you want to get more involved with the work that I do. That's where you can connect to me on Patreon, for example, where I teach astrology, and there's all kinds of lovely goodies and giveaways and exclusive content if you like the work that I do. That's where you can follow me on Instagram for daily oracle cards, connect with me on Etsy. I offer private services over there. I have 2 wish lists linked below and a PayPal link for anyone who wants to donate to the channel. Everything is very gratefully received. And we have a discount running with Modern Day Manifestations if you would like to get 10% off beautiful crystal manifestation jewelry. The link is below. Use the discount code Violet once you've used that link to validate the discount code, and you'll get 10% off and free worldwide shipping. So let's get into the reading. Obviously there's no piles to pick today, so if you've come here, these are going to be your messages. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. I'm super excited to do this. We are going to start out with tarot, and then we'll move on to oracle cards, charms and dice. I think I'll also use my oracle tokens today, so there's lots to get through and it's pretty exciting. If you've never watched it before, there's all kinds of different mediums that we use on this channel all the time. So let's get your tarot. Okay, so what do we have here? So we've got the 7 of Wands. Yeah, that's that feeling where you just feel like you're the only person fighting your corner. You've tried so hard, you're working so hard, and it's like no one is giving me a break. Everyone is expecting me to justify myself. Everyone is expecting me to explain my decisions, or, you know, why are you doing this and not this? Or are you sure that's the right course of action? It's just exhausting when you're in the 7 of Wands because you feel so alone, like you are just fighting that corner by yourself, as I mentioned. The 6 of Wands, however, is telling you that you're doing a really good job and that you should be proud of everything that you've achieved so far. It's also indicative of the fact that you should end up victorious in this situation. You should come out of this feeling like you've achieved something great or you've achieved your goals. Then we have the 7 of Pentacles, 7 of coins in this deck, the sense of waiting. So notice that we've got 2 7s here as well. I think the 7s in tarot often have the sense of anticipation about them, or the sense of maybe not really being sure where it's going to go from here. And that's definitely fitting with the feeling that I got for who needed to watch this reading today. So this feeling of waiting, this feeling of I've done so much, but where's my reward? Or I've worked so hard, why haven't I got like a tangible outcome yet? And then we have the Emperor, Aries energy, taking control, seizing power, taking charge of a situation. So lovely, lovely tarot cards. They are our portal into the reading today. Let's move on to your oracle cards. Might be using some decks that we haven't seen for a while or that we don't usually use on the channel. Okay, so you have Breach. Wow, Lady Breach, inner strength, move back to wholeness, recognize that you have the power. So this is lovely. Breach is a very powerful Celtic goddess. Interestingly, I would say she's the goddess of inspiration because she's the goddess of poets and artists and this inner fire. You know, we often refer to inspiration as being like a spark or a flame. So I think that really connects wonderfully well. But also think about the fire as being not just the inspiration, but also like the motivating force. A lot of you, I feel, have come to this reading today because you are just down. You don't feel like you have any get up and go or any strength or any motivation. And that's also how we view fire, as this energy, something that propels us forward. So really with the Emperor and Breege there's this call for you to recognize that actually you are right. Actually, whatever you're doing in this situation is correct. And that's really validating for those of you who are in that Seven of Wands phase of just feeling like no one's helping me, no one seems to agree with me, I'm just fighting it out on my own, maybe I'm doing it wrong after all, maybe everyone else is right. Number 27 from the King Solomon cards. This is lovely. This is about fighting for absolute truth and justice. It's basically saying don't settle for anything less than the best. Don't settle for anything less than what feels right for you. Don't settle for anything but the absolute truth. Don't settle for anything except the full, complete justice in this situation that you've been hoping for or fighting for or holding out for. You might not get there straight away. You know, for example, if this is to do with career, for example, you might be in a job that is not your goal job, your dream job, but it's something that's a stepping stone to get you there. You know, being in that job doesn't mean that you're failing. It means that you're taking the steps that are necessary to get to the end result, but that you shouldn't rest on your laurels. I feel like a lot of you have done a lot of work. I mean, the sevens, if we go back to the fact that you have the sevens indicate that there's already been quite a lot going on, you know? If we think of the tarot as being like 1 to 10, and then we get the court cards, like 7 is pretty far along that gradient, but it's the point where we're not yet able to see that end of the tunnel. You know, we're not quite able to see the outcome of our hard work yet, and it's stressful and it's maddening, and sometimes it's really, really demoralizing. But you should definitely keep going. Okay, a couple of cards from this deck. Share your voice. Come out of the cave. Persecution. Expression. Wow. I mean, that fits with Breege's message of like, don't back down. You know, this is who you are. You have something special to share, whether that is in the artistic sense. Like, as I said, Breege is this goddess of crafts and of art. That doesn't mean, oh, you have to be a poet. You know, don't worry about that if that doesn't speak to you. It means share your voice, and don't let yourself be drowned out by these people who say, oh, you shouldn't be doing this or you shouldn't be doing that. Don't let anyone else dictate your destiny, basically. Don't waste your time living someone else's life. We have Pleiades showing up as well. Double mission, channeling and uplifting humanity. Gorgeous, gorgeous message. Beautiful. So actually, people watching this today are almost certainly starseeds or have a very strong connection to starseeds, and you have this special mission on Earth, which I feel is connected to the sharing of your voice, because you shouldn't be dimming your light or, you know, silencing yourself to make anyone else feel more comfortable. You should be speaking up. Spreading the message of love that the Pleiadians are asking us to share, helping us to enlighten people, because this is the thing. Like, you might feel as though, okay, I should just conform to what other people want for me and then everyone will be happy. But actually, yeah, sure, in the short term, they might feel happy. They might feel like, oh, I've got one over on her now. Or, you know, yes, finally he's stopped trying. Like, I can feel like I'm better than him. But really, in the long term, is that a victory? You know, actually, when you live your life authentically, you subconsciously give other people permission to do so too. And some people, if they have a strong shadow self and a lot of issues to work through, they might feel confronted by that and they might feel frightened by it and it might push them away. But in the long term, it's better for everyone to rise up in this sense and to be an example, a role model for other people, than it is for everyone to go around, you know, cloaking themselves in darkness and pretending that this is what they're comfortable doing. sword of light, divine protection, cords cut, breakthrough energy. Beautiful. And that is really similar, in my opinion, to the Ace of Swords as well. The sense of cutting through the darkness, cutting through confusion, communication, obviously, that comes in as part of that as well. Chamber of the Violet Flame, karmic release, radical transformation. Wow. The flame imagery as well. Burning old cords, releasing what no longer needs to be in your life, releasing what's restricting and limiting you so that you can rise up, so that you're no longer dictated to by those things or those people or those beliefs, those experiences. Israfel, Angel of Song. So there again, there is that really artistic element to this, but it's all about expression. So again, I really don't want you to feel like you have to be doing something artistic if that really doesn't speak to you, but that is certainly a message for a lot of people. And the overall message of song and art and expression is just that. It's speaking up, and it's spreading your true nature throughout the world. As we've said, not pretending to be someone you're not, or dimming your light, or living inauthentically just to please someone else in the short term. Input, output. So we've got this machine that is giving birth, I guess, to this egg, or is creating this egg, and the egg is cracking. I don't know how well you can see it on the camera, but there's a hairline crack in the egg, suggesting that something new is about to burst forth. I love eggs as a symbol of potential, and I feel like that is what is going on here, this sense of you being reborn, you having all of this potential that's locked within you that up until now has not been shown to the world. You know, we look at that egg and we think, what's going to come out of it? You know, it's really interesting, it's really different coloured, really exciting, but what is it going to look like? And so there's probably a fear element to this as well for you. Like, what is my true self like? What am I going to be, you know, opening myself up to if I allow myself to express my true nature? What are people going to think if it's very different to who I've been up until this point? But it's just becoming more of your own self. So while it may feel disingenuous at first, or it may feel like it's weird or a little bit strange, ultimately it will make you so much happier, and it will feel so right. Okay, couple of cards here. What have we got? Forgiveness. Number 9, see the bigger picture, trust and heal. That's a big thing. And look at the similarity of the images here and here as well. Girl who's sort of crouched, sort of making herself smaller with her body language, and who is looking out at this water, this space, this body of water, which gives us the opportunity for reflection, because when I see the surface of the water I often think of the reflection, but also which represents our emotions, vast potential as well. It's a wide open space. Emotions then brings in the idea of fulfillment. There's just so much imagery in that that's so similar, and that I feel like we can gain a lot from. Then we have observe, number 6, loving eyes see all, equanimity, see the truth, step back. So it's seeing yourself clearly and seeing this whole situation clearly, not just on the surface level of, you know, objectively seeing the situation without being colored with the filter of emotion, but also seeing it from the spiritual level, which may be very, very different, what's going on the spiritual level to what is actually happening in the material reality. Like, you might think, you know, there can be no possible lesson to this awful situation, or there can be no possible good reason or outcome from this. But when you see things from that spiritual perspective, suddenly all becomes clear, and then it can make things so much easier for us in the physical world when we have that higher knowledge. You also have Ellen of the Ways. Number 5, attune to nature's signs to find your way. Follow your heart. So this is definitely a lovely message for those of you that have been wavering. Like I said, that you feel like people are trying to pull you off your path, and therefore you should just, relent and let them, and you should give them what they want. But I don't think that that's what's right for you. I think it's important that you follow the call of your heart, which is really the call of your soul. It might seem a little bit illogical at first. It might feel like it's taking you down a path that you don't know where you're going to end up. But ultimately, that is the right path for you. When you follow the path of your soul, you end up where you need to be. Whereas following what might seem rational in that logical kind of surface way often leads us down the wrong path, because we're just seeing the material world with our rational brain. We're not having that connection with what the overall plan is, or with what's happening on the spiritual plane. So we're basically just bumping along, making decisions based on the surface. It's like if we only lived our life getting information from the headlines and not actually looking deeper and reading the full article, we only have a tiny bit of information. Aha, number 4, the kidnapping. Feeling pulled away, feeling helpless, feeling like you have no agency in this situation. This could also relate to the forgiveness card, I think. Some of you have felt like your ability to choose has been taken away from you in the past, or you feel as though you've been silenced for a long time. You feel as though people have taken you for granted. Like, even there could be this, again, sort of drawing the forgiveness towards yourself as well, because you might be feeling as though you've been complicit in giving up your own agency in the past. You might feel like, well, I stayed in that situation for much longer than I should have done, or I let someone hurt me, or I let someone repeatedly hurt me, or, trusted someone when my gut was screaming to me not to, and then, they ended up screwing me over, or they ended up letting me down or hurting me in some way, and therefore you take on some of the blame for that interaction. Now, I think it's great to recognize where, had we been more informed back then, we would have acted differently. But I don't think it's at all helpful to just carry around this sense of blame. So that could possibly be something to work on for some of you. Equally, like, it's not just this sort of past experience. I really want to talk about this feeling of the lack of agency and the feeling of helplessness, because that's really what your spiritual team are asking you to relinquish right now, to instead, in a sense, surrender to spirit, because that will give you back your autonomy. It sounds weird, like surrendering will give you back your autonomy, but it's true, because then you will grow more into your authentic self, rather than getting more and more mired in this false understanding of who you might be. Your ancestors say, enjoy new beginnings, celebrate, socialize, change. And it's really funny, because when I was shuffling, I actually pictured that card in my head popping out. So that's lovely. So enjoy new beginnings. There is going to be change for you. I think that's a very welcome message for anyone who feels like change has not been happening for me, or I've been trying so hard to bring about change, and yet it's just not been going my way. I've just not had that break, or I've just, despite reaching out, felt like I'm still stagnant, or felt like I'm still not really getting anything from those interactions. If you feel like you have been shut in the house in that sort of 4 of Pentacles energy, then I really encourage you to go out there, reach out, try some new things, shake up your routine a little bit. That can make so much difference. Belong to your own dream. Number 32, create your own life. What a beautiful message when we've just been talking about this feeling of a lack of agency. Wow, that is so lovely. That's so nice. And also the base card for this deck says, I want to be a queen. Number 33, stating your sovereignty, declaring freedom, passing a test. And that's just what we've been mentioning. Regaining your autonomy, even if it feels like, how could I regain it through this method? So your blind spot in this situation is sigil number 50. That one's pretty cute. It looks like a little alien or a little robot maybe. Let's take a look in the guidebook and see what is being said about that particular blind spot. Number 50. Automaton. Okay. If you've drawn this sigil, you are not seeing that your own programming is making you behave in a robotic way. What have we been saying about authenticity and a lack of agency? Oh my goodness. This automatic way of behaving overrides your conscious capacity to know what is right to think, say, and do, and consequently use your free will to take that action. Let's pretend that it's Thursday night. You've just left work and you're supposed to run an errand. To run this errand, you will have to take the turning onto the highway. So you get in your car and you start driving. But before you know it, you realise that you've missed the turning and instead you're taking your normal route and driving home. It's as if you've switched into autopilot. You're stuck in a pattern. It says if you've drawn this sigil, your programming is at play in this situation, not your conscious mind and conscious free will. You are following a pattern that has been programmed into your system long ago without any awareness of that pattern being what is currently in control of your thoughts, words and actions. That program may be totally counter to your actual best interests and or the best interests of others. Ask yourself, what pattern am I stuck in? If you become aware of the pattern and remember how and why it was programmed, you have the capacity to step outside that program and either follow it or turn it off. So basically becoming aware of where you are acting automatically because you really might not have realized it up until this point. You know, it's very easy to just go through the motions and not actually realize that that's what you're doing. But once you realize it, then you have the power to change it. And that's deeply powerful. So let's get you some more cards. We'll just get a few more cards, then we'll move on to your charms, dice, and tokens. So then here we have Archangel Metatron and Clear Quartz, Power, number 1. That's the first card in the deck, so that also points towards new beginnings. It points towards initiating change, potential as well, going back to that egg symbolism. Number 15, Archangel Raphael and Malachite, Grace for the Grand Gesture. Beautiful. So basically telling you that you have the power to achieve what you need and what you desire. Grace for the Grand Gesture also says that you are being given, how can I explain it? That you're being given basically like a karmic blessing or a spiritual blessing that creates space for you to really put your efforts into something. You know, sometimes we feel like we have something that we want to do, we have a project that we want to get moving with, but it just feels like we don't have the space to do it. There's no time in our life. Things keep getting piled up on top of us that then get in the way of that thing that we really want to do. But Grace for the Grand Gesture says that you are now being given this grace to put your efforts in. Time and space is being created for you. I'm also being drawn now, I missed this at first, to the butterflies along the spine of the girl in this forgiveness picture. Butterflies being symbolic of liberation and evolution, personal transformation, lightness and freedom. Lady Isis says life restored, priestess of the phoenix. As you can see, it's the image on the back of the card there. Life restored. Basically, when you feel like life has been drained from you, when you feel like you have lost your abilities, you feel like you're completely tired, you feel like you just have no inspiration, Lady Isis is pouring that life back into you. A bit like this image actually of the input-output. She's blessing you with this grace that we've mentioned, this opportunity to grow, to change, to breathe again, to feel nourished once more. That's incredible. I'm so pleased with the cards that you've gotten so far. So let's actually do your charms now. Just beautiful cards. There's also a bit of a theme as well as like the sort of orangey color of the flame. There's a theme of like a blue-green color running throughout your cards. So that might have some meaning for you at this time as well. Let's do your charms. See what they can tell us, what information they can give us. Beautiful. So we have the letter T, firstly. I don't know if that has any meaning for you. Could be a word that comes to you, could be a place, a person's name. It is landing on the Chamber of the Violet Flame card, so it may indicate something that needs to be removed from your life, purified, transformed in some way. Just take whatever resonates with you from that. You have the unicorn, pointing to your uniqueness and your purity as well, kind of landing on that one and that one. And that's important because I feel like with being so drained and tired, you've kind of lost sight of your purity and of your unique gifts. And so you need to remind yourself, I am pure. I cannot be tainted. I am unique. I have incredible special gifts that, while some of them might be shared by other people, this unique combination of gifts that has been encoded into me is unique to me alone. You know, I have something special that no one else can offer. You might feel like, well, other people are good at singing, or other people are good at doing whatever it is that I'm good at, but that doesn't mean that they have all of the unique combination of talents and gifts and interests and specialties that you do, because no one does. So that's always something to remember when you feel like you're comparing yourself or like you're down about your abilities. You have an angel wing here. Strong angelic presence around you. We saw that from the fact that we got 2 archangel cards from this deck, which is lovely. Really powerful archangels as well, Metatron and Raphael. Also Angel Israfel coming out here. You have the shell, symbolic of Lady Aphrodite, also known as Venus, the Greco-Roman goddess of love and beauty and sensuality. She's showing up for you. You might also have a different meaning personally for the seashell. Obviously there's quite a lot of deities that could connect to the seashell, but personally I see it, that particular kind of seashell, as being connected to Aphrodite and Venus. You have an earth elemental here as well, so earth elementals are also in your presence. You seem to have a lot of hidden helpers surrounding you guys, which is lovely. The earth elementals are here to tell you that it's fine to be different. You don't have to fit in. You don't have to feel like you're doing something just to please another person. So I love that you've gotten that particular charm, because it reinforces the message that we've received elsewhere in your reading. You incredibly have the 6 of Wands charm, this Hallelujah charm, and you got the 6 of Wands card. So that's a beautiful reinforcement of the fact that you will emerge victorious if you follow your soul and your heart's desires, rather than what you think is the rational thing to do based on your surface understanding of the situation. Then we've got this little combination of charms that are all tied up together. So the worry thread is one of them, worry and anxiety. Then we have the bird's house, little bird tweeting like he wants some more friends, he wants more support around him, he wants people in his corner. That takes us back to the 7 of Wands that opened out your reading. And then we've got the axe, which symbolizes defensiveness. So there is really this feeling there, isn't there, of like, I want help, but I'm afraid to ask for it. Or I want help, but I'm not sure if I trust people enough. You know, I worry that that trust will be betrayed. So some really, really interesting things to think about there. Interestingly enough, they're all landing on the observe card. So this could be about getting that spiritual perspective of your own fears, or of situations where you feel like you're contradicting yourself or you're not really sure what the best way of going about things is. Seeing things from that higher perspective will really help you. Let's get your dice now. Okay, we're rolling the 7th set of dice, and those are the Harry Potter dice for you today. Let me just get those. They're right on the bottom of the pile. Typically. And we're rolling 3 of them. So not loads, because there's 9 in the box, but we'll see what comes out, and then obviously we'll finish up with your tokens as well, as I mentioned. Okay, so you have Nagini. Nagini is a snake, a huge snake, but she used to be a woman, and through a curse that was placed on her, she ended up being a snake. So when I see Nagini, I think of someone who feels like they've been cursed, or who feels like they're going through a run of bad luck, or who doesn't like what they've become. Maybe over time you might feel like you've grown more disillusioned, or you've strayed further and further from your path, and you kind of turn around and you're like, oh, how did I even get here? You know, I was trying to get there. How have I got all the way over here? So it's trying to cycle back to that sense of authenticity, the last time that you felt that being in touch with your authenticity. And that could even be in early childhood. So for some people it's very challenging and confronting to go back and find that the last time they felt they were living authentically or in touch with their authenticity was in early childhood. But once you do, it's transformational, because then you can start making the changes that need to be made. We've got the portcullis here, this symbol of shutting people out or not wanting to let people in. Protecting yourself could be in the form of heart armor, or just shutting yourself away, or not consciously making any effort to socialize. You know, and for some of you, I feel like you actually have been reaching out, you have been trying to socialize and putting that effort in, but it's like other people have this portcullis around you, like you're not being invited, you're not being welcomed in, people are closed off. So definitely, if you haven't been trying, or if you've been shutting yourself away, try and initiate that change within yourself. For those of you that are feeling frustrated with that, just give it some time. And then you have the centaur Ferenz. This is someone who steps outside of the tribe. Ferenz chose to save Harry when maybe some of his tribal members would not, because they were just doing what was right for the group. But he chose to step outside of the herd mentality of what everyone else was just going along with, and chose to sort of put his neck on the line and sort of, you know, make himself visible in that sense and lay himself open to criticism. But he did it because he felt that that was the right thing to do. And that's also what's happening for you right now, as you're being challenged to step outside of the norm, or what is expected of you within your family, society, friendship group, your generation, maybe your culture, etc. Could be very, very different to what people expect of you. So let's finish up now with your tokens. I've got 2 sets of tokens. We'll see what they can tell us. I'm just putting my hand in the first bag. Okay, and the second bag, these ones are bigger. Okay, so yeah, straight away, do not disturb. Like this feeling of pushing people away, or you trying to reach out to people, you trying to initiate socializing or trying to make some new friends, and people just seeming to have this really closed off like energy, you know, just really not being interested in opening up or having any sort of meaningful discussion or making any sort of meaningful kind of connection with you. And that can be really frustrating, or it can be really difficult to deal with. Then we've got the shell game, you know, the kind of game where something's hidden under one of the shells and then someone swaps it around really quickly. You've got to follow with your eyes which one it was under. So this is like sleight of hand, it's like trickery, but it's also about basically making a difficult choice. Sometimes we genuinely don't know which one of the shells it was, because it was so quick, and we need to make that decision, and, you know, it could have really big consequences for us. We could win or lose. And obviously this isn't, this is like on a wider scale. It could be to do with what job to do. Should I move? Should I not? Relationship issues, lifestyle issues and crises of identity, all of those things. So from the smaller tokens, you've got the lantern, a little candle. Makes me think of the Hermit card in the tarot. It's number 1, so again, that sense of initiation. The lantern, when we think of the Hermit, we think of the inner journey, we think of solitude, we think of being guided by that inner light, which represents our conscience, our intuition. the darkness in the Hermit card. It's always at night and he's holding up the lantern. The darkness represents the ignorance of people around him, whereas he is carrying the light that guides him through that darkness. Number 51, the headphones. Listening to music, sound healing potentially as being something that's helpful. Brainwaves, etc., solfeggio frequencies. Drowning out the noise of other people's opinions. Attunement to what makes sense to you. And then the sports car. Quick movement, fast progression. Could genuinely be to do with getting a car, like a new car, doing something to your car, travel in some way, but to me usually the car means moving quickly. So progress that happens very quickly or very suddenly. So I really hope you've enjoyed this reading, you guys. I hope you've gotten something from it. Maybe not all of the messages will have resonated for you today, but you might have gotten some specific message that really stood out to you and was like, yes, that's what I need to keep in mind, or absolutely, that's now what I need to think about in terms of, you know, making certain choices in life. That's what I need to think about moving forward, or yeah, that's the problem I'm dealing with. That's going to give me some insight into it. I just felt really called to do this reading for anyone who is feeling that way or who is in that kind of stagnant, drained, tired situation. So I truly hope it's been helpful. Please do let me know in the comments what you thought and how it resonated with you, because I would love to hear from you. Please like, share and subscribe as well if you enjoyed the video. That really helps me out and it helps us to get these messages to as many people as possible as well. It's a lovely way to show your gratitude for the work that I do. Thank you so much for being here. Have a lovely rest of your day and take care. And do check out the links below in the description box or in the comment I post if you are interested in getting to know me better or in connecting more to the work that I do. So thank you so much again, you guys. Take care. Have a lovely rest of your day and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.